Hey everyone, ready to unpack a topic that's got everyone talking. We're diving into intermittent fasting. It's like the diet everyone's trying, but does it really, live up to all the hype? You've got a ton of your questions, and we've dug through the research. We're going to see what the science actually says. Is this like a health revolution or just another fad diet?
Well, what's really interesting is that intermittent fasting, it's not really about what you eat, which is what so many diets focus on. It's more about when you eat. And that's where it gets really cool because it kind of ties into our body's natural rhythms.
Okay, so no forbidden foods, just like strategic timing. Got it. We've got studies galore, expert opinions, even stories from people who've tried it. So, what exactly are we talking about here? Give us the breakdown.
Yeah, so the term intermittent fasting, it actually covers a bunch of different approaches. There's that 5.2 diet where you really cut back on calories 2 days a week. Then there's alternate day fasting, which is a real back and forth. But the one that's really popular, the one everyone's buzzing about, that's time-restricted eating.
Ah, yeah, the 16.8 method, right? It's all over social media. You basically squeeze all your eating into an 8-hour window and fast for the other 16.
Exactly. It's like taking that natural overnight fast we all do and extending it. And there's some early research that suggests that this could be really good for our metabolic health.
Interesting. So it's not just about, fitting into those skinny jeans. We're talking actual measurable health benefits.
Yeah, that's what the research is starting to show. Studies have found some pretty amazing improvements in cholesterol levels with intermittent fasting, like a significant drop in LDL, that's the bad cholesterol, and a nice boost in HDL, the good kind. One study even showed a 12% decrease in LDL in just 8 weeks.
Wow, that's impressive. Way better than those statin commercials you see, right? What about blood sugar? A lot of people are curious about intermittent fasting and, how it affects diabetes.
Yeah, that's another area where the research is pretty exciting. Intermittent fasting seems to make your body more sensitive to insulin. That means your body can use insulin better to, control your blood sugar levels. So that can mean lower fasting blood sugar and better HbA1c levels, which is a long-term marker of blood sugar control.
So this could be huge for people with type 2 diabetes.
Well, it's still early, but some studies have even shown that intermittent fasting might actually help some people with type 2 diabetes reduce their need for insulin therapy.
Now, let's talk about the big one, weight loss. I mean, that's probably why most people get interested in this in the first place.
Of course. And yeah, the research does show that intermittent fasting can lead to weight loss, usually around 3 to 7% of body weight within a couple of months. But what's really interesting is that it seems to target fat loss, especially visceral fat, the dangerous kind that hangs out around our organs.
So it's not just about looking good. It's about, reducing the risk of serious health problems that come with carrying extra visceral fat.
Exactly. And there's even research suggesting potential benefits beyond weight loss and metabolic health. There are hints that intermittent fasting could reduce inflammation, maybe even lower the risk of some cancers, like breast cancer.
Wow. So we're talking about a potential triple win, better metabolic health, weight management, and maybe even cancer prevention. Yeah. It almost sounds too good to be true.
Well, like with anything in health, there are always things to watch out for, potential downsides we need to consider.
Right.
Not all that glitter is gold.
You're right. Got to keep it real. So
yeah.
Give it to us straight. What are some of the possible drawbacks of intermittent fasting?
Well, first off, getting used to it can be rough. Imagine your stomach growling during that long fasting window. Side effects like hunger pangs, getting irritable, feeling tired, even brain fog, they're all possible.
Makes sense. It's a pretty big change from the usual 3 meals a day, right?
Yeah.
But is it safe?
That's the thing. There's more and more research on intermittent fasting, but we still need more long-term studies on humans to really, confirm all these benefits and understand any long-term effects.
So proceed with caution. And what else should we be aware of?
A recent review found something kind of concerning. Out of over 100 claimed benefits of intermittent fasting, only a handful were actually backed up by solid scientific evidence. Most were based on, lower quality studies.
Yeah.
So we got to be careful about all the hype.
That's a great point. Makes you wonder, with all this buzz around intermittent fasting, are there other approaches that might be just as good, maybe even better for some people?
That's a really good question and one we should definitely dive into.
Perfect. Let's switch gears and compare intermittent fasting to some other popular, ways of eating, like calorie restriction and the Mediterranean diet.
Sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
Okay, so first up, calorie restriction, the classic eat less approach.
Hmm.
How does that compare to like the trendy new kid on the block, intermittent fasting?
Well, it's interesting. Some studies suggest that calorie restriction, where you consistently cut back on your daily calories, it can actually lead to similar health outcomes as intermittent fasting, like weight loss, better cholesterol, and improved blood sugar control.
So it's like choosing between, I don't know, a vintage car and a brand new model. Both can get you there, but the ride might be a bit different.
Yeah, I like that. Both approaches can work, but there seems to be a key difference sticking with it. Studies show that people tend to stay with intermittent fasting longer than traditional calorie restriction diets. There's something about that, like, structured eating window that just clicks for people.
Maybe it feels less, I don't know, restrictive mentally. Like you're not constantly depriving yourself. You're just like indulging within a set time.
That could be part of it. And we can't forget about those potential benefits tied to circadian rhythms, which we see with intermittent fasting, but not so much with calorie restriction.
Right, that whole syncing with your body's natural clock thing.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about the Mediterranean diet. It's always getting praised as one of the healthiest ways to eat.
The Mediterranean diet is a real powerhouse. It's packed with fruits and veggies, whole grains, lean protein, healthy fats, all the good stuff. And the research is really impressive. It shows that the Mediterranean diet can offer similar heart-healthy benefits to intermittent fasting. It even seems to protect against chronic diseases.
And the best part, no fasting. It's all about enjoying delicious, wholesome foods.
Exactly. It's about a sustainable approach, enjoying your food instead of feeling deprived.
But what about weight loss? Does the Mediterranean diet deliver on that front?
Well, weight loss isn't the main focus of the Mediterranean diet, but it can definitely help you maintain a healthy weight by focusing on nutrient-rich foods and cutting back on processed foods, sugary drinks, and unhealthy fats. It naturally helps you, manage your weight.
So more about overall health and well-being than just like chasing a number on the scale.
Exactly. It's about nourishing your body from the inside out and creating a sustainable lifestyle that, promotes long-term health.
Okay, so we've got 3 different approaches to healthy eating, intermittent fasting, calorie restriction, and the Mediterranean diet. Each has its own pluses and minuses. What does this all mean for, like, our listener who's trying to make sense of all this nutrition stuff?
That's the million-dollar question, right? We've given you the facts, the potential benefits, the possible downsides. Now it's up to each person to decide what works best for their own health goals, their lifestyle, and their preferences.
Right. There's no one-size-fits-all answer here. It's all about personalized nutrition.
Exactly. Do your research, talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian, and make an informed decision that feels right for you.
Couldn't agree more. Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, we wanted to leave you with something to think about.
Given that connection between intermittent fasting and those fascinating circadian rhythms, could the timing of our meals be just as important as the food itself?
That's a great question, and one we'll definitely be exploring more in the next part of our deep dive. Okay, so it seems like there's more to intermittent fasting than just weight loss.
Oh, absolutely. It's about, understanding how our bodies respond to when we eat and how to, work with those natural rhythms.
We've talked about the potential benefits for, like, metabolic health, weight management, and even, cellular rejuvenation. But what about the bigger picture? How does all this connect to the idea of longevity?
That's a great question, and one that scientists are really digging into. Some early research suggests that intermittent fasting might actually play a part in helping us live longer and, age more healthily.
Okay, you've got my attention. Tell me more.
Well, it looks like restricting food intake for certain periods might kickstart a bunch of cellular processes that actually make our bodies more resilient and protect us against, age-related decline.
So it's not just about living longer, it's about living better.
Exactly. It's about staying energetic and sharp as we get older, and maybe even, pushing back those chronic diseases.
Now that's a goal I can get behind. Are there any specific studies that support these claims?
There was one study on mice that showed the mice who did intermittent fasting actually lived a lot longer than the mice who could eat whenever they wanted.
Wow, so restricting calories could actually make you live longer. That's pretty amazing.
It is, but it's important to remember these are early studies. We need more research, especially on humans, to really confirm these findings.
Of course. But it's a really exciting area to watch. Now let's bring it back to our listeners. What are some things they can, actually do in their own lives?
Well, as we've been saying, the most important thing is to find what works for you. Experiment with different fasting windows. See what feels good and what you can stick with.
So no need to be super strict about it.
Exactly. It's about paying attention to your body and respecting its natural rhythms.
And remember to choose, like, nutritious foods during your eating windows.
Absolutely. Whether you're doing intermittent fasting or not, giving your body healthy ingredients is key.
Great advice. So it's not just about when you eat, but also what you eat.
Precisely. It's about making conscious choices to, take care of your whole self.
Well, this has been a really fascinating look at intermittent fasting. We've covered the science, the hype, the potential benefits, and why it's so important to find what works for you.
It's been a pleasure talking about this with you.
And thanks to all of you for listening and joining us on this journey of discovery. Remember, knowledge is power, and we encourage you to keep exploring, keep asking questions.
Until next time, stay curious and keep those brains buzzing.